Why is Europe becoming a retirement home? The answer is simple. Demographics. The EU's median age will exceed 48 by 2050. It's currently 44.5. This means half the population will be close to 50 years old. Why does this matter? This slide explains everything. The EU median age rises from 44.5 in 2023 to roughly 48.2 by 2050. This means half the population will be 48 or older, the moment an entire continent ages. Fertility rates are far below replacement level. As of 2023, Spain at 1.16, Italy at 1.24, Germany at 1.46. Nowhere near the replacement level of 2.1. What's more critical is the recent deterioration. In 2023, the EU saw a sharp drop in births, with fertility rates declining in many countries. Whether low fertility becomes permanent rather than temporary will be the biggest turning point of the next decade. As a result, by around 2050, the population aged 65 and over could reach close to 30% of the total. The working age population plummets. Europe becomes the world's most aged region. Population projections are estimates based on assumptions about fertility, mortality, and migration. However, multiple official institutions consistently show aging progression in the same direction. This is understandable. Look at the fertility rates. Track the age composition. Now you can understand Europe's demographic crisis. Today, let me show you the data. Europe cannot maintain its working population without immigration, but it cannot accept immigrants. This is the fundamental contradiction Europe faces. Past UN projections estimated that maintaining the working population would require millions of immigrants annually. But immigration and refugees aren't a future debate. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, numerous refugees have been staying in the EU, already impacting population, labor markets, and public finances. However, many are women and children, and childcare, language, and credential recognition become bottlenecks for workforce integration. And the political reality is heading in the opposite direction. In the June 2024 European Parliament elections, right-wing forces advocating immigration restrictions surged significantly, and policy is rapidly shifting from acceptance to strict control. In Germany, the AfD. In France, the National Rally. In Italy, a right-wing government strengthens immigration restrictions. Economic necessity clashes head-on with political resistance. The numbers are merciless. Age-related spending already accounts for roughly a quarter of GDP. And as the working population shrinks, the cost of maintaining this continues to squeeze public finances. In Germany, upward pressure on pension spending persists. In Italy, pension spending is already at elevated levels. And who will support this burden? The younger generation. The old age dependency ratio, the proportion of elderly relative to the working age population, rises, increasing the burden on the active generation. Tax burdens and social insurance contributions surge. This fundamentally destroys intergenerational equity. However, the explosion can be mitigated depending on policy. In Europe, pension reforms, raising retirement ages, linking to longevity, promoting continued employment, are advancing, and the outlook for 2050 burdens varies greatly with or without reform. Even with the same aging, fiscal impact changes with institutional design. The decline in working population directly destroys economic growth. Labor force reduction drags down the economy, with potential growth rates predicted to fall to the low 1% range. The working age population declines from roughly 280 million in 2022 to around 250 million by 2050. This means tens of millions of workers disappear. Domestic corporate investment declines, R&D spending stagnates. Young talent flows to the United States and Asia. Innovation capacity deteriorates. In long-term scenarios, the EU's share of global GDP is expected to decline. Europe loses influence economically as well. Meanwhile, rapidly evolving AI and automation technology, how far it can compensate for the shrinking workforce, becomes the final key to Europe's survival. This isn't just aging, it's a structural chain reaction eating away at the entire economy. Increased pension and healthcare burdens from aging reduce disposable income for the young. When disposable income falls, consumption stagnates. When consumption stagnates, corporate profits deteriorate. When corporate profits deteriorate, domestic investment declines. When investment declines, productivity improvements are hindered. When productivity doesn't improve, potential growth rates fall further. When economic growth slows, tax revenue declines. When tax revenue declines, fiscal deficits expand. As aging increases fiscal pressure, debt ratios in high-debt countries remain elevated and can rise. When public finances deteriorate, pressure to cut Social Security emerges. This intensifies intergenerational conflict. Once this chain begins, stopping it becomes extremely difficult. Imagine Europe in 2050. In a typical city, the proportion of elderly increases while the presence of youth relatively diminishes. Companies relocate headquarters to the United States or Asia, seeking growth markets. European bases are shrinking. Talented individuals leave universities and research institutions. Intellectual productivity declines. The political system prioritizes the interests of the elderly. The voices of the young go unheard. Reform stalls. Museumification is a metaphor. However, if reforms stall, the weight of growth industries relatively declines, and dependence on tourism and heritage becomes more prominent. The Louvre, the Colosseum, the Parthenon, these are beautiful, but that's past glory. The entire continent risks becoming a museum living off past heritage. This is the risk Europe faces. Now, let's organize today's analysis. Here's the summary. First, demographic change. The EU's median age rises from the current 44.5 to over 48 by 2050, with half the population approaching 50. In 2023, births across the EU dropped sharply, with fertility rates declining in many countries. Extreme low fertility continues. Spain 1.16, Italy 1.24, Germany 1.46. To maintain the workforce at current levels, substantial net immigration must continue. However, in the June 2024 European Parliament elections, right-wing forces surged significantly, and policy is rapidly shifting toward strict control. Second, economic consequences. Age-related spending already accounts for roughly a quarter of GDP, and as the working population shrinks, the cost of maintaining this continues to squeeze public finances. Labor force reduction causes potential growth rates to fall to the low 1% range. In long-term scenarios, the EU's share of global GDP is expected to decline. Meanwhile, rapidly evolving AI and automation technology, how far it can compensate for the shrinking workforce, becomes the final key to Europe's survival. Third, structural chain reaction. Increased pension and healthcare burdens squeeze disposable income for the young, causing consumption to stagnate. Investment declines, productivity improvements stall. Fiscal deficits expand, and debt ratios in high-debt countries remain elevated and can rise. Reform capacity is lost, and the entire continent falls into long-term stagnation. If you were a young European, could you accept this future? Europe risks becoming a museum. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. This channel analyzes world events from geopolitical and economic perspectives. Facts, not emotions. Mechanisms, not opinions. Deepening your understanding of the world. Subscribe and explore the truth of the world with me next time. Turn on notifications, and each time a new analysis is published, your worldview advances to the next level. Until next time.